that's going to make a huge difference in who's going to be your true fans for the long run versus somebody who's just going to double tap, give you a like, and then keep on swiping, keep on moving. That kind of deal. I'd probably say, you know what, for me being in the content marketing or just marketing arena for like 8 years now, I would say it used to be that content was king. Now community is king.
Welcome to the Listen Up Podcast. I am Davidito, your host, and we back like we never left. Since you're back, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Today's guest, all right, we're going to learn a little bit about her story, how she got into art, her experience in a professional career in marketing, and some of the experiences she had overseas, what drew her into customizing shoes. Today's guest, Gigi Rogers. Welcome to the podcast.
Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim core. Davidito, he'll cook it up like the kilo and have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stitch.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for dealing with all this technical difficulty to get here too. I greatly appreciate it.
It happens always unexpectedly, right? Just when you need it most to work. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So let's start here. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Cool. You know what? You actually think that I would actually have something prepared, and I do not. So I'm just going to keep it very simple. Hello, everybody. My name is Gigi Rogers, and I am the owner and creator of Puck and Khaos. I am an artist, and I have typically like to paint on odd objects, but especially these days, sneakers, especially over the past couple of years being sneakers. And that's pretty much about me. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Yes,
awesome. Yeah. So, from what I've seen, looks like you're a creative person overall, just looking at your page. But what drew you into wanting to paint on shoes? Why that as a canvas?
For whatever reason, when it comes to me painting on anything flat, I can't do it very well. I don't know what it is about sneakers in general that I was really drawn to. Maybe it's even just the fact that I love to take thrifted sneakers or anything that's secondhand and then turn them into pieces of art. To see that transformation, I think that is just so dope and cool. And then plus, it's a little bit cheaper if you can't afford $250, $300 sneakers and be like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and my own little personal like piece of art collection, something that's different, something that's mine, etc. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what drew me into it. I can tell you this. I used to live in Shanghai, China. And around 2017, I came across a YouTube channel which they showed how they painted sneakers and took beat up sneakers and just made them look almost brand spanking new to the original, what they were supposed to look like. And I binged watched that for like 6 months to a year. And I told myself, like, when I get back to the States, I'm going to do that. So I did. In 2018, I did, yeah.
I do want to come back to the China thing because that's interesting. I would love to know why you were there and what that experience was like. But what drew you into art? Where does that come from? Where does that like passion for art come from?
It probably came from watching my dad paint when I was younger. He is a big artist in our family, or he was. He doesn't do it as much anymore, but definitely that creative expression, especially in using color, most likely came from there. And then my interpretation and how I use it, whether it be in makeup or it be on sneakers, yeah, I use it everywhere. Splashes of just art everywhere. Any way for me to express myself almost anywhere. And it's always like a bag of Skittles kind of exploding into the scene. So,
Yeah. So one of the things that I find interesting and that kind of drew me to like some of your sneakers was the way that you use words and stuff. And it really made me think about graffiti, right? And how you see tagging on a wall or something like that. Could you speak a little bit to that and where that came from?
I honestly do not know where it came from. I do have a tendency to take things that usually don't belong together and put them together. And for me, I never seen anybody put typography onto a sneaker before, but I think I just had on a whim one day, like, oh, I wonder how this would look. And it it looked amazing, and now it is part of like a staple of my design, and especially in the concepts and conceptions that I like to design around. So, and then of course, like graffiti. I mean, if it graffiti just almost makes almost anything look cool if done right. It can make so like many any type of like bland, normal, I don't know, background art just have that pop all of a sudden. And I love that contrast of the white and black versus the color that I usually use a lot of. So
Yeah. Also, one thing I found very, very interesting was your way of making your own stencils, right? To put the words on there, right? So
yeah.
many times I'm watching like other people, they're using a Cricut or something like that to cut everything
Yep.
out, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this in the way that you're going, but it also made me think about before I had a Cricut, and I would just take my phone and put a piece of tape over it, and then kind of sketch, and then put the tape on the shoe and
Oh,
use that as my stencil, right? So I was like, okay, I
I
like
love
that, and
it.
I really,
I
really
love
love
it.
graffiti too. So I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. I like it. Speak a
I
little bit
forgot that there are
to
people who did that. That's cool.
that again.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot that people actually did the whole tape over the phone or over the iPad to stencil things out. Oh man, yeah, I forgot about that little hack technique. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. That I was like, well, at the time I couldn't afford a Cricut, and I was like, I want to do this
Yeah,
and I want to do that. So find a way to
yeah,
make it work, right? And almost
yeah,
everybody has a phone,
yeah,
so it worked out.
yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the colors, right? Like, there's so much vibrancy and energy in like what you do and the colors that you pick. Is there a reason for that?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I just love color. And I don't do browns and beiges and grays and blacks very well, especially even in my own closet. Like if I like showed you my closet, you'll probably see like one beige jumpsuit and that's it. Everything else is, like I said, an explosion of Skittles and color, Technicolor even. There's I don't know. I don't know why I specifically use that color. You make me think now, David. Like why I do what I do. Like I really just think it's just because of my just love of color in general. And usually when I look in, especially inside of stores, I'm not impressed by how toned down the colors are. It's like I want something more vibrant. I want something that feels more like me, you know? And so I think that's why I'm pushing so hard and being like, yeah, let's go ahead and turn up the volume on the saturation of this color and really show up and show out. Because I'm not trying to blend in with anybody. I'm not trying to bleed into the back of the crowd, and I don't mind being seen. So yeah, again, to turn up the volume on that vibrancy, why not?
Yeah, yeah. That's very, very interesting. I was just having a conversation with my kid the other day, uh, basically just telling him like be yourself because everybody else is already taken. There's no reason for you to not be you and live in full of who you are. Um, don't worry about trying to be anybody else in that space. So, yeah, I thought that's very, 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 very cool and dope. Is there something that you are trying to say or portray with your art when you're putting stuff out there? Is a reason why you're choosing even some of the words and stuff that you've chosen to put on shoes? Like, what are you trying to say in that space? And what stories are you trying to tell?
Usually it's all conceptual. Like I usually try not to be almost as direct as possible. Like for example, a couple of years back, I did a sneaker for Missy Elliott's cool off challenge with some other people. And so I watched the music video and I pulled the colors that she was using in the video. Of course, it's Missy Elliott, so it's that color palette. It's like right within my wheelhouse. But then also some of the words that were popping up. So again, go ahead and put those on the side of the shoe as well. Some of the accents that she had as well. So yeah, usually a lot of my stuff has a tendency to be very conceptual. Right now, I'm working on a BTS custom series, 7 sneakers in a month, which is exhausting. But again, almost going with like, all right, what would Kim Tae-hyung's or V, what would he look like as a sneaker? It's like, oh, okay, let's go ahead and add some pearlescent colors. He has very warm tones, almost like a sunset vibe when you listen to his music while you're driving along the coast somewhere. So I'm pulling in a lot of those colors. And again, those kind of concepts when I'm thinking about how I'm going to approach a sneaker. And sometimes I will even change my mind while I'm doing it. It's like I have a color palette all figured out, and then I look all the colors together. I'm like, this is too heavy. This doesn't look like him. This is spot on. Let's go ahead and work off of that. And there you go. That happens like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I think
in
about
in your
concept.
process, are you sketching out the shoe and then like adding the colors to it? Are you doing it on like a computer or anything, or is this just all operating in your head?
It's all operating in my head, and as I'm
Okay.
piecing everything together, that lets me know like how close I am. Sometimes, like I did a J Hope sneaker, and that one was just so easy. I got it in the first go. But then there are others where I'm just like, nah, like I thought this color palette would work. It's not really. So let me go ahead and really think about, again, take a step back, think about it, what will work, what doesn't work, what fits for this individual or this concept that I'm going for, and how do I need to go ahead and tweak it to move forward to get what I want, the end result that I want.
Yeah, I definitely do mine on the computer. I mean, because I have too many thoughts that run through my head, and too many ideas. So then I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, let's map it out on the computer. But also
that's a
then I
smart
can
way.
give the customer something to look at, something
Yeah.
to proof as well, before
That's
moving
definitely the
into.
smart way. Yeah. If I'm gonna want to get brand deals in the near future, like I have to get used to taking a picture of my with my Procreate and like sketching everything out then. But also I kind of know myself. I'm like, what I sketched and give to you could change in the future when I start to piece it all together. So it'll definitely be something for me to work out in the near future.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Interesting. I like it. I like it for sure, for sure.
Off the dome.
So tell me a little bit about your experience overseas and what drew you over there.
Actually, you know what? That was just a job. So my background is in marketing, content marketing, and specifically, and I called or I applied to this company. They said, "We love your work. We love what you want to do. Can you be in Shanghai in 2 weeks?" And I thought that they were in LA, California, but they're like, no, 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 that's just like our like home, like US base, whatnot. But we do most of our operation in Shanghai, and so I was like, yep, give me 3 weeks instead, though. So, I burned everything, gave it away, whatever. And I shipped myself over there to work at the office, which is a really great learning experience. And of course, a little bit of a culture shock, but everybody was so super crazy nice. Especially even those who were English speaking and not too shy to talk to me. And yeah, I was there for like 2 years, and the only reason like I didn't even stay was because like visa issues. But that place was dope, and yeah,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, and probably the biggest shock, I thought I was going to be like the only black person within like a, I don't know, 100-mile radius. No, there's a black expat community there, and this is how I learned about black expats just being everywhere, communities everywhere, all across the globe. Any place you think that you want to go and live, there's most likely an expat community there. And because of them, I was able to assimilate to the culture shift within 3 months instead of like 6 months to a year, because they've been there for a while, and so they know the ins and outs and everything on how to do everything, how you can go ahead and acquire anything that you need, how to go to the hospital and doctor, like everything. So yeah, I miss that. I miss that type of community over there, and then of course just like the culture and the food, and my some of my friends who are still over there.
yeah. So that was going to be one of my questions. Like, how did you make that transition? Right? Like, I can't relate from going to a different state. I can or going to a different country. I can relate going from one
Mm,
state to another, and even the challenges with that. But trying to go to a place where you don't speak the language, you may not understand everything that's there available to eat. Like there's a whole new world basically, right? So I think that that's very very interesting too to know that there was a community there for you to be able to have to help with some of that. So that's cool.
Oh, for sure. And then also, I would say, just even my coworkers as well, all you really need is just one person to kind of show you the ropes on how to do everything. Like, for example, they use their phones to pay for a lot of stuff, a QR code. They just go ahead, scan the QR code, and the money comes out of your bank account, and there you go, good to go. Not a lot of cash is used. Definitely open wet markets. That's a normal thing. And again, with the QR codes, they have that. So, I mean, yeah, and usually you'll pick up, of course, like the smaller parts of the language, like shiga, 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 which means like this, and they'll be fine. Like they'll point, you can point and be like, "Oh, okay, sure." And I don't know, you can definitely get by for sure, but definitely having at least one person who can just show you the ropes will make a huge difference on how comfortable you become in that space as fast as possible.
Yeah. So, do you look at Chinese food different here now?
Do I? Yes. Just from the one thing about Chinese food in America is that everything you know what you're gonna get. Like no Chinese food restaurant, not really has a very wide variety of food, I should say. Versus, of course, over in China where they're experimenting. I didn't know that there was like Muslim Chinese food. I was like, oh my God. And it was delicious. It was amazing. I love going there with my one friend. Yeah, so just a little bit more variety and creativity, of course, in the homeland of where it is, and then even like fusion food that they'll have over there, which was like their interpretations of certain dishes and cuisines. And so it's a great country to eat and drink your way through if you can ever make your way over there.
Yeah. At some point, I would love to go. Just got
Yeah, check out
my
Shanghai or
passport
Hong Kong. Yeah,
re upped,
check it
so
out.
I definitely would
Yeah.
love to get over there for sure. For sure. One thing that did come to mind, though, you said you went over there to work in the area of marketing. Two things. What's one tip that you would love to share with us as we're all trying to find ways to grow, our platforms? But two, what would you say is something that you learned from there that you use in promoting yourself?
Oh my goodness. What's one tip when it comes to this marketing? I probably go with don't be shy. Be unapologetic and really put it out there. Really connect with your community as well. That's going to make a huge difference in who's going to be your true fans for the long run versus somebody who's just going to double tap, give you a like, and then keep on swiping, keep on moving. That kind of deal. I probably say, you know what, for me being in the content marketing or just marketing arena for like 8 years now, I would say it used to be that content was king. Now community is king. So the sooner that you can build your community, build your email list, get people off the platform so you can actually directly have access to them. And I don't care if that's doing lives, if that's via, oh gosh, what's that one platform? Let's go. Yeah, whatever platform you want to use, let's go ahead and just say email for now. But whatever it takes for that, make sure that you have direct access to your people, so you can go ahead and talk to them, and you can reach them at any time that you want to. That's going to be huge. And of course, you listening and talking to them. So even if you can do lives, that would be great. Have an AMA every now and then. Have them. Well, I won't say have them watch you paint your work because that can be a slow 13, 14 hour like grog. Um, but yeah, that's going to be the hugest thing I think from now moving forward is you building out your community around what you do, or even just around you and your personality as well.
Yeah.
And what's the second part of the question? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Just how you use what you've learned in your own personal brand.
Oh, you know what? I have to say, because I've been in and out of sneaker painting for a little bit. And you'll see that on my feed, unfortunately. And just now, like recently in the past 2 weeks, I'm really starting to dig deep and be like, all right, I'm going to take this seriously now. This is going to be a business. And so the way that I'm thinking about the marketing, I'm thinking about how I'm going to get people off the platform and onto an email list. How can I go ahead and build community? How can I add value to their lives? Is there anything they want to be educated, or do they want to be entertained, or can I go ahead and do both and do infotainment somehow? But yeah, really trying to figure that out and build that up as much as possible. And probably like honestly from now until like definitely the next month, just moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not sure. Have you? I've never actually did a deep dive and looked at other sneaker artists and the way that they promote themselves and connect with I don't know, brand sponsorships and things of that nature. But it seems like no one is pushing or is going to push as hard as I am when it comes to marketing and really building and connecting with that community of 1,000 true fans. Uh,
Yeah, there's a couple people that I would say definitely do. Most of the trend as far as community goes right now has been people creating their own workshops and
mm,
bringing communities out to that and trying to teach them how to do their own custom shoe or paint or whatever. So
okay,
there's a lot of that that's happening. Selah Vic is going in a different direction.
that's my
Though,
girl.
yeah, yep, love her.
Yes.
I do love what she's doing and trying to find a product to be able for somebody to be able to use. So her with her sneaker tattoos right now, and she also
Yes.
did some tongue tabs as well.
I have
But
both of
yeah,
those.
so there's some of that, but I feel like most of, at least from what I've seen, is pairing themselves up with some type of sports community,
Mm,
whether it's basketball or football, just because of how many shoes and being able to constantly do them and get them.
yeah.
So there's been a lot of pairing in that space. I've seen a couple people do like some small stuff with, well, I wouldn't call it small stuff. It's a huge brand, but with like Hibbett Sports, I had an artist on he goes by KBK,
Hmm.
and he did some stuff with Hibbett, starting with his local Hibbets, and then end up having an opportunity to go to the headquarters and do something for
Ooh.
them. So I think there's people doing it in a lot of different ways.
Okay.
But as far as really building a big community, I'm not sure of. The only other person that comes to mind is Dylan.
I know
Is
who
the
you're
only
talking
other one,
about.
huh?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his tag name though.
His line is just create for his thing, but they Seuss Dylan they
There you
Seuss.
go. Yeah,
I can't
Jesus.
use English words today, but yeah, yeah, he's probably in the forefront between
Yeah.
him and also Vic Almighty, but his is directly paired with Rashuinator. So there's
Yeah.
some yeah, and some brand collaboration, but most of them I feel like it's a one off here or there,
Yeah.
not just a full community. So it also I feel like is a very young community as far as getting stuff out and people being a part of. I know there's some people that have been in for like 10 to 15 years, but I don't know anybody who's been in like, 30 years or, whatever the case may be. So it's still very young industry when it comes to that, in my eyes, anyways.
Yeah.
And there's
But
there's
10,
quite a
15
few
years for a
battles
sneaker
too.
artist, I have to
Huh?
say is actually, I was probably to say for 10, 15 years for a sneaker artist is actually really good. Like you're actually able to make yourself a living and sustain that for that long. That's actually impressive because I know so many sneaker creators, even myself, who burn out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was going to be one of the questions too. Is like, how do you deal with that, right? Because there's a piece of resilience that has to come with doing this, and because it's so labor intensive, like
Mm.
how do you deal with the burnout, and then how do you find ways to continue to motivate yourself to be creative in that space?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I'm not sure who your audience is. I don't know if it's only sneaker artists and sneaker heads, but if they're not, like painting custom sneakers afterwards your body hurts. Like, or at least I know mine does. Like I usually need like at least a half a day to recover before I can actually start working on the next pair of shoes or whatever have you. I know some people who need like at least a month to actually make a pair of custom sneakers, you know? So yeah, I think that part, the part of the burnout that you have to be very aware of is that you have to take care of yourself and your body. So important. I don't like whether you go outside and you go walking and do some stretching before and afterwards. Your lower back and your hips can really get messed up from just sitting for so many long hours in the same position. So again, like I cannot stress this enough. Please, like take care of your body. Listen to your body. Try if you can go to the gym. Do that. Probably some resistance training will help, but definitely get up every couple of hours to stretch and make sure that you're feeling like a little bit limber. It will help. It goes such a long way. Let me see. So actually, my one of my burnouts happened because of that. And for me just to get out of it, I had to go to a chiropractor, I think, and just do all these special stretches. And so now I'm really big about making sure I have a good core and again, making sure my hips are nice and flexible as much as possible by doing like pigeon poses and usually like a 10-15 minute stretching regimen that I found on YouTube that works brilliantly. Let me see. Other ways. I'm sorry. Was it like the second and third part of the question? Sorry.
That was pretty much the question. That was pretty
Oh,
much the
okay.
question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to deal with burnout in general. Well, I know for myself.
This episode of the Lace My Podcast is brought to you by Davidito Designs. Davidito Designs is my website. It's where you can go and cop some merch. You can also put in a request to get some custom shoes. Take whatever idea, design, dream that you may have in your mind, and we can take that and put it on a pair of shoes. Go ahead and fill out a request form. Let's collaborate and let's bring your vision to life on a pair of sneakers. See you over there.
When I keep coming back to it, that seems to be my deal. Like no matter what, like I'll go ahead and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and hang up this whole sneaker custom thing. No, whatever. But I always just seem to come back to it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm not approaching it as I'm an artist. I'm approaching it like, no, I'm a businesswoman. You're in a business. So that completely shifts the gears on how you're going to approach on how to make this successful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I know a lot, especially with artists, are like, I'm doing art just to create art. That's great. If you want to do that as a hobby. But if you want this to be part of your livelihood, then you have to take it serious. You have to think about every aspect. And I know, again, artists do not like to think about the business side of it, but it is you have to, if you want to make this successful, if you want to be moving forward with this. If you do not want to think about that portion of this, then you need to release this idea in general and just go ahead and do it as a hobby and have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with that either way. But I'm thinking about the pricing. I'm thinking about distribution. I'm thinking about packaging. I'm thinking about the community and building it up. I'm thinking about the marketing. I'm thinking about all these little aspects that have to come into play for me to, again, make this a very successful artistic business of mine, creative business, if you will.
Yeah. So in that space, if you had somebody who came to you and said, I saw your stuff, it's dope, I want to do it too. What is one piece of advice that you would give them starting out?
I would probably tell them make 7 pairs and reassess. Make 7 pairs
Okay.
of sneakers and then just step back and be like, how was this fun for me? Did I enjoy this whole process, or was it time, or did I stop at the second pair and be like, you know what, this took up my whole weekend. No thanks.
Yeah.
But really just getting to that's actually the main barrier that a lot of people have when it comes to sneaker customizing, is that a lot of people don't know. Yeah, it hurts your body. And also it is time intensive. Again, it takes me usually like 1 or 2 days to do my customs, but again, I've known artists who take a whole month to do theirs. So
Yeah.
imagine doing that every single day. So if I tell you to do 7 pairs and then reassess and see how you feel, and if you weren't feeling this, you couldn't get past even the first pair or second pair, then just maybe do it as a hobby, or or just go ahead and pay for somebody else to do it for you and go live your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one for sure. Make sure it's
What
something
would you
that you
do? What
actually
would you tell
love.
somebody?
I would say first do your research and understand the materials that you're working with. Right? Like
Mm,
I remember the first pair because I didn't want to go spend a bunch of money on when I started getting back into it and not really having the knowledge. I want to grab some Walmart shoes and painted them and gave them to my kid, and the paint on them immediately started cracking up and everything. But I didn't know
yes.
how to prep them. Right? I didn't know what prepping was,
Yep.
what that looked like, anything like that. So really get an understanding of what you're doing because to go through something, spend all these times and now your heart is broken, so really taking the time
Yes.
to learn and get as much information as possible, and that you don't need all the fancy stuff, right? You just need the paint and paintbrush and the idea and go. You don't
Yep.
have to have everything that you see everybody else with. Get a little
Not
starter kit
yet.
and go. Yeah.
Agreed. I think every sneaker artist has that same exact story. The very first pair that they did, it cracked and your heart broke. And you're
Yeah.
like, I didn't know this. And
Yeah.
even of me, what my 6 month of binge watching, it actually was Vic Almighty,
Mm.
him and Resjuvenator that I was watching over in China. That I thought I knew what I was doing, and apparently after my first pair, I didn't, and I had to go back to the instructions. Like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Is like, are you curious enough to actually figure out what went wrong and to fix it, or you're just like, well, that was a fail. Time to move on.
Yep.
ASAP.
That's one of my sayings is creating this problem solving. So you have to go through that
Yeah.
journey to try to figure it out, right? Like you have this vision or whatever you want, and something's always going to come up, whether it's you doing a pair of shoes or you chasing a dream or whatever the case may be. There's going to be an obstacle,
Hmm.
and how do you problem solve and get past it? So, yeah,
Facts.
definitely, yeah. So you've been doing this for a little bit now, for a while, as far as
Mm.
designing and creating shoes. Um, what would you say is your top five customs that you've created?
Top five customs. One of them is a when Into the Spider Verse first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they're like right behind me. Like those right there. Those like photograph beautifully, by the way, too. And I'm just like, oh yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Let me see. There is another pair. When you photograph it, it doesn't look real. It's like this blue with grays and whites, and it just kind of looks really fluid. And I don't have that one up here, but yeah. Um, and then of course, honestly, like any of the ones with like the typography on the side of it, I'm really going to start taking my typography more seriously as I grow as an artist. Because yeah, that's not going to go away anytime soon. I love
Yeah.
the way that it looks shoe. I really think it pops and it's fun. Um, so yeah, yeah. So the other three will most likely be like any of my typography shoes that I've done. Yeah,
Okay. What would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned on your journey so far?
I give up too quickly. Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, I'll give up too quickly if I don't have a solid plan in place. And again, for the
Mm.
longest time, I was treating this more like a hobby, and that you know I'm an artist who does this on the side every now and then, and no big deal. Versus again now making that switch in the brain to it's like no, we're gonna make this to a legitimate business.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
do you
Starting with
have
the end
to
in
go with?
mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, somewhat of the end in mind. Yeah, yeah, a better idea of the end in mind for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, that's probably been the biggest lesson I've learned, and that I have a lot to learn. One of my friends, he got on me like a few days ago, saying it's like you are this close to being a just brilliant sneaker artist, and for whatever reason, you keep breaking your focus and go doing all these other adventures, these other interests that you have. It's like, I need you to focus. It's like, just focus on this just for a little while. Give it like 6 months, maybe a year. And I guarantee that what you're doing now will be elevated to a completely different level that will separate you from the pack. And so, and he has a point. I need it. It's funny, I give this advice to other people when I do consulting every now and then, but I needed to hear that myself so bad. I'm like, thank you for being my friend
Yeah.
and telling me this. To focus, just focus.
I definitely can relate. I be doing the same stuff, so I can't say nothing at all. I can't say nothing at all. I definitely do the same thing. So,
Yeah, it happens. But again, it's great to have somebody who sits you down and says, face forward. That's it. There's nothing else over here for you right now. Face forward. That's it.
yeah, somebody hold you accountable for real, for real. Uh, that may not
Huge
piss you off
difference.
too bad. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you'll be like, all right, I can listen to you. But if it was somebody else said it, I'm probably not gonna listen.
It really depends. Yeah, it depends on who's giving you that type of advice as well. You have to be so careful around the people that you're going to keep around in your circle. If someone has skin in the game like you do, who's trying to build something that seems, well, I just say out there, I should say, or just trying to build anything in general, are they there to help you or are they hindering you? Are they cheering you on when you need it the most? Or are they saying like, well, you tried and that's that? They're letting you quit without you moving mountains to make it happen.
Yeah,
They're asking you, it's like, do you have anything left in the tank? Or are you just giving up? Are you just satisfied and settling? And when someone asks you something like that, you're like, damn,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. You
Show
gotta
us your
go back and
commitment.
reevaluate your life after those conversations.
Or not even probably reevaluate how you've been moving since, and then immediately make those changes. Ask your questions like, well, why is it taking me so long to go from A to B? Oh, because of this, and this. Because I have a morning routine that takes me 3 hours to do before I actually get into the work. Get rid of the freaking morning routine and just get into the work.
Yeah,
Like
make
that
that
kind of
shorter.
stuff. Or
Yeah.
yeah, make things shorter, or like, what are any other barriers or any points of friction that you have to doing the work? Usually the one thing that you have to do on your list is the thing that you will put off on doing. Like, I will wash the dishes, I will clean the bathroom, I will clean the bedroom, vacuum, whatever, just so I don't have to do that thing. But if you get rid of that thing first thing in the morning, next thing you know, it's done and you're like, oh, well, that wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. And oh, now my day's pretty free. Or it's like, all right. Or you feel like you accomplished something so big that it energizes you to go do the other things you have on your list, because it's just like, man, I'm getting things done today, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's getting past your own fear, right? Like, so one of my things is always if is fear is fake. It's just a mental blocker. A lot of times the things that
Mm.
we're afraid of, that we're so afraid it's going to happen, most of the time never happen. And then the other half is procrastination. My wife does not like my definition of procrastination,
Mm.
which is disobedience in slow motion.
Mm. Mm.
But though between those two things, I feel like that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck. They become afraid of something that's not even real or not even there, and then they just put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off, and it never happens, and completely miss your opportunity because of you just didn't do it. So
Usually, when it comes to fear, that from what I've noticed from individuals is that they'll catastrophize in their head. I'm gonna make this thing and it's gonna suck, and then, or no, I'm gonna make this thing, I'm gonna be really proud of it, I'm gonna show it to my friends and family, they're gonna laugh at me, and they're gonna say it sucks, and then I'm gonna know I'm gonna suck, and then I'm just going to die. Like, it goes that bad in their head.
yeah,
Versus, and just also, I'm sorry, a side note on this. The very first time that we do anything, you're supposed to suck. Just like we were talking about our failures in that first, attempts at sneaker customizing, it cracked and it sucked. you know, or even if the design was great, it was, well, usually when I look back on like my first couple of designs, I laugh. I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But you're supposed to suck as you're supposed to be growing at the same time. It's never going to be that nice, clean road. And so, whatever fear people have in regards to the judgment that most likely come from the art, I think every artist has this. It's like, is this going to be accepted by my community or by my peers, by the world, by the people who I care about, my friends and family, or will I get laughed at? And
Yeah.
then, but I will say this, even if no one accepts it, it's still yours. It's something that you created out of your mind. It's, it may have been a failure, learn from it. Ask
Yeah.
them. It's like, what seemed to be the problem? Obviously, don't ask your audience and them. Ask other artists who, again, who have the same skin in the game. It's like, please roast this.
Yeah.
What like, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? Sometimes it's nothing that you did wrong. Sometimes it is absolutely fantastic, but it just didn't resonate with the people you wanted it to, and that's fine as well. And that is what it is. And so you just go ahead and do the next one. Period. No matter what, you do the next one. You keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So earlier we talked a little bit about like how much time it takes to make a pair of custom shoes, right? And being able to continue to move forward with that. What are you listening to when you were working on a pair of shoes? Is it music? Is it a book? And then if so, what's the playlist or what's the recommended book that we should be listening to?
I actually don't listen to audiobooks ever just because
Okay.
of whenever I read a book, I have the idea of the voice in my head already. And if I hear somebody else's voice reading it, I'm just like, this is wrong. This is completely wrong. And so I just turn it off. So I don't do audiobooks ever. I either do music or I do long form podcasts, interviews. Like I'm
Okay.
really into Chris Williamson these days. He's fantastic. A lot of his guests that he has going on, of course, Steve Bartlett and Diary of a CEO. I'm trying to think who else. And as far as like music and playlists, that really changes up every day. Like right now, I'm a little bit into the whole K-pop realm, and but then what was it? A couple of days ago, I was into like R&B. So it changes. It changes whatever the mood kind of feels like, and then whatever it is, I just go ahead and let it roll, let it play. And but I will say that whenever I watch podcasts, usually those are like 3, 4 hours long sometimes, and it's good for me to see like how far I've gone on the shoe during that time frame. Either I'm moving too slow or I'm ahead. I'm like yes. So
Yeah. I like music because I can just kind of like sing along and like get into a mind space that's empty versus something that needs my attention because then I start
yeah,
focusing on that instead of focusing on the shoes that are in front of me. So
yeah.
yeah, like you were saying, like it's a good measurement. Like, wait a minute, I'm listening too hard to this podcast. Maybe I should actually be painted on these shoes. So yeah, for sure, for sure. I hear that one.
Got to mix it up.
Yeah. I definitely do the music. I ain't gonna lie to you. I, more of an R&B person, but every once in a while I throw like some hip hop or something on. Or
I was gonna ask.
if I throw some gospel or church music on, then if I start singing along, then I'm in trouble. So I typically don't listen to that while I'm like you start worshiping and then I'm in a whole different place. So I'm like I can't listen to that while I'm doing this. So they don't go together.
It's good to know. It's good for you to know. It's like, wait, that one's gonna hinder me.
Yep.
That's causing friction. Time to turn back to, I don't know, hip hop or rock. There you go.
So, what is one person that you would like to, dead or alive, doesn't matter who they are, that you would like to do some type of artwork for, custom shoes, an entire outfit, whatever the case may be?
Ooh. Oh man. So to probably I should stay with somebody within my aesthetic who likes color and is very unapologetic with color. Um God, I want to say this one artist, but I'm not 100% sure. And it would most likely be Janelle Monáe.
Mm,
Um, her vibe is just there. And I think it clicks with, I think, what I'm doing. But even also, most likely, like possibly Pharrell. I'm trying to think. What other like big artists? What is the artist that you think of when who's colorful? Other than
Who's
like Missy.
yeah, I was gonna say Missy immediately, and then you took that
Yeah.
one away from me.
Yeah.
You already mentioned Pharrell.
J Hope would be a dream because I know he loves color.
I think Chris would be one.
Brown?
Just like I'm thinking about like your the graffiti and like your style, and
I
he's
got it.
into that space.
I got it. Okay, do you know who Steezy is?
Steezy, no.
Yeah, Steezy is an online like dance course or school, I should say. They
Okay.
teach everything from ballet, contemporary, but especially on hip hop. They're very heavy on hip hop. And they are getting ready to create an international dance league where it's almost like a basketball league or a football league where different countries are going to or yeah different countries are going to be represented by a certain dance crews, and one of those dance crews is the royal family dance crew. I think it's God, I want to say grave diggers, but no, that's not it. But whatever. But basically, these hip hop crews from around the world in general. One of them's called 1 Million. I know that one's for sure. And I want to customize for them. I'm talking for the whole squad, the whole team. I want
Yeah.
to make the jackets. I want to make the sneakers. I want to make the merch that they're going to be putting out there into the world for people to basically fall in love with whoever they're backing as their team.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be,
That'd be dope.
that'll make me so freaking happy. It really
Yeah.
would. That would be probably the collab of my life.
Yeah. So who do we need to get in touch to make that happen? There's a question.
Let me see. I'm not 100% sure because I know Connor, who is the co-founder of Steezy, him and Clay did a video saying that they're going to be going over to focus on that. Connor, the co-founder, is Clay. He's going to be doing both Steezy still and IDL. And so I'm not 100% sure who I have to contact. Trust me, I put out an email and they did open it, but they immediately closed it. So I'm going to have to, again, move mountains to make myself seen and stand out from the crowd, being like, I think you need me for
Yeah.
this. This is.
Yeah.
This is perfect for me and you, and I know I can go ahead and create some kicks that I just know people will love and it'll fly off the shelves. Well, at least I hope so. We can test it out first, you know.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. My next question was, what was something that you're working on that you're excited about?
It's probably the BTS customs that I'm doing right now. Yeah, because I actually have direct connection to the forums where they hang out, where Army, the BTS fans hang out, and I just posted this one picture of the customs that I did for I think J Hope. What his would look like? What would J Hope look like if he was a sneaker? And they went crazy for it, and so yeah, I'm very my basically my whole marketing strategy to start building up my business and fucking chaos is starting right now. So yeah,
Awesome.
I'm
Well,
very
I'm
excited about
excited to
this.
watch and see what all comes to fruition for sure.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: what do you do for yourself other than this podcast? Which fantastic idea, and the fact you're using the mini clips as well, fantastic. What are you doing to make your like sneaker customs, or or just your brand in general, like more successful and out there for the public to consume?
Right now, there's been a lot of posting. Is what the immediate thing that I've been doing.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to think about maybe I should pivot a little bit in some of that space.
Mm.
It's like, because currently I'm putting out probably about 3 clips a day
Well.
on different platforms.
Yeah.
So, and then a full length video and like once a week and like a bunch of stuff. So, I'm also thinking, well, maybe I need to spend a little bit more time doing some more grassroots stuff. and just kind of beating the streets. And then whenever I travel, trying to communicate more in that space too. So I'm starting to think more in that and trying to figure out what would be my plan of attack for that, but still trying to drive people to the same platform or space. So, and also trying to drive people to my website. But
Yeah. So no, it sounds like yeah, you have everything handled as far as brand building, like your personal brand, and then also your company's brand. Do you actually separate the two, or do you keep them all in one?
it's
Like
pretty
I
much all in one.
all in
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much all
Yeah.
in one. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, where can we follow you at? Where could we find you at?
Let's see. So I do have a YouTube channel called Puck and Chaos. PUCKNKHAOS. It is me. I am it. And that there, there I'm going to be. You guys are going to see a lot of the behind the scenes of my whole artistic journey and me trying to evolve more as an artist, which I've been delaying for so many years. Like, for example, I need to learn how to use an airbrush. I do not airbrush any of my sneakers whatsoever, and I know on certain parts of my sneakers it would come in clutch. So, yeah, you guys going to see a lot of my first times and a lot of messiness and me trying to figure it out, which could be it's gonna be interesting. I don't mind
Yeah.
documenting it. But also, of course, on Instagram, Puck and Chaos, TikTok, Puck and Chaos one, the number one, and I don't have a website. I need to make that happen. Well, not really. We'll see. I'll make
When
that
it's
happen.
time. When it's time. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
When
When
it's
it's
time.
time.
Why the name? Explain the name. Puck and
Puck and
Chaos.
Chaos.
Yep.
So many years ago, I used to have a company called Controlled Chaos. And I met a guy and we were doing a collaboration and his company was called Pucker, which I need to buy because that is such a killer name. And it's Puckr. That's how they spelled it. I was like, that's so dope. And so we're doing a collaboration and he immediately was like, Puck and Chaos. That was that. And so we were together for a while and then he dropped out and I told him, I was like, I'm keeping the name. He's like, yeah, go ahead and have it. And so it's been Puck and Chaos ever since. And then plus it's kind of fun to people, they'll say like Puck and Chaos
Yeah.
as if they could say the F word
Yeah.
instead. I
Yeah.
was just like, yeah. Or they say puke and chaos, which I think is kind of funny too. But
Gotcha.
But yeah, I freaking love it. Like the word puck can be used almost anywhere, and it turns heads. I
Yeah.
should say it's fun
Dope. Well, thank you for being on. I greatly appreciate it.
for sure. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yes.
This was fantastic.
That has been another episode of the Lace 'em Up podcast. If you're still here, I greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and subscribe, drop a like, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all those things. Drop a comment down below. Let me know who you want me to interview. What was your takeaway from this interview? I would greatly appreciate any feedback that you give me. Gigi, once again, thank you for being on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. And remember, fear is fake. Creating is problem solving.
Whoa.
Peace.
Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim core. Davidito, he'll cook it up like the kilo. And have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stitch.